Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Scores studio. Welcome to the show. So, battles. Let's do battle. Pokemon battles. Not quite Pokemon battles. Very different than Pokemon battles. Magic battles are here. And well, there's actually a lot of them from this set. I think like 33 or so in total. And apparently, maybe some more in the future that kind of set it up in that way. So yeah, there's a lot of new exciting ones to start off with though. And yeah, let's jump into what are, in my opinion, the best battles for Commander, or at least the ones that might make the biggest impact, or, you know, my picks for like the top ones. Yeah, just which ones are going to be used, which ones can make a massive impact, which ones, yeah, are you going to want to check out? And actually, there's some. I mean, there's so many really good ones that even some that, like, I'm just so hyped about for myself in, like, very specific decks, I'm not bringing up. Like, Invasion of Alara, I'm sorry, spoiler, that one's not in the episode. Like, you can build an entire deck around that one. Very exciting. Actually, you can build an entire deck around battles. I'm getting off topic. Let's jump into the cards. Here we go. And my apologies if I mispronounce any of these names, because some of them are about, you know, planes that are really, really old. Anyways, Invasion of Gobakon. Gobakon? Let's go with that. A battle siege for 1 and a white. I should mention that all these are going to be battle-siege. That's why I'm saying in the future there's probably going to be a different kind of battle because, again, siege is a subtype, and I'm assuming there's going to be other subtypes. Regardless, again, as a siege enters the battlefield, you choose an opponent to protect it, and then you and others that are not that opponent can attack it and, you know, take it down. And once it's taken down, you get to exile it and cast it on the transform side, essentially. This one has 3 defense counters on it to start. And it says, when it enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it. A spell cast away costs 2 more to cast. And also, I should have mentioned that I am going to be including, thank you, Moxfield, you're a great website, and thank you, Scryfall, for, I believe, providing the images and the prices for this. But yeah, the price of these cards, at least for the pre-order price, is going to be right underneath these, so yeah, make sure you keep that in mind. Again, I believe the set actually comes out the 21st, so prices do adjust around that time as well, and yeah, sometimes those prices go down, sometimes they go up. I'd say a lot of the time they tend to go down just a little bit, depending, you know. Regardless, here we go. So this is a very impactful card again. Just to start off again, 2 mana. All right, cool. I get the ETB. I get to disrupt an opponent again. You're not really getting that mana back, but you are kind of taxing an opponent for the exact same amount. Basically, you're like, okay, yeah, hey, you know, I don't want you playing that 1 card for a while, so let's just take that out of your hand. You can play it at some point, but for 2 more, essentially. So again, you're putting 2 into this. That opponent is going to be taxed for an extra 2. So that mana kind of does just transfer in a way. But also, when this does flip, and again, you can take this out, you know, with combat. You know, actually your other opponents who aren't protecting it can help you out as well. If you can politic that, essentially, you can attack it to take it out. You could lightning bolt it, and actually a lightning bolt itself would just take this out. When this does flip, though, this is a side that I think can have a massive impact. Here we go. Light Shield Array. It's an enchantment that says, beginning of your end step, put a +1 counter on each creature that attacked this turn. And by sacrificing it, creatures you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So again, front side is basically like a hand disruption, you know, effect essentially on an ETB. And yes, there are certain ways that you can use and abuse ETBs of battles, like sudden disappearance, etc. We'll talk about, you know, an example of a card that might be able to get you a way to really go about it. Regardless, okay, outside of that, once you can flip this, oh my goodness, the potential for this backside is great. Again, if you have a go wide strategy like a token strategy, or if you've got a +1 counter build, yeah, being able to get extra free counters again on your end step, getting a counter on each creature attack this turn is huge. That being said, the bigger effect is, again, that second part. Hey, basically like a heroic intervention, but on an enchantment. In a way, now heroic intervention does protect all your permanents. This just protects creatures, but again, basically from almost any situation, this is going to protect your creatures, okay? Hexproof, indestructible, your creatures can't be targeted, they can't be destroyed. Yeah, there are exiling effects, of course. There are, you know, bounce effects that work too. But still, if you are, you know, just utilizing, you know, this essentially in most situations, this is basically, again, a heroic intervention that stays on the battlefield and for your creatures that also can just pump your creatures throughout the game as long as you can keep this in play. So my goodness, can this card be really good. Again, token strategies, go wide strategies, +1 counter synergies. Great ways to consider this brand new card. Again, the hand disruption is just nice additional, you know, like, oh, sorry, opponent, don't want you casting that for a while. Let's slow things down. And just getting a peek at someone else's hand can be great, too, to kind of know what to counter as well if you're going with, you know, more of a control play, too. Let's move on, though, to a very different kind of card with Invasion of Ikoria. X green, battle siege with 6 defense counters on it. When it enters the battlefield, search your library and or graveyard for a non-human creature card with converted mana cost X or less and put it on the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. So, hey, a great tutor, kind of like a Green Sun Zenith in a way, but obviously on an ETB. So again, yes, there are ways to use and abuse that. Maybe you've got like a Panharmonicon. I guess Panharmonicon wouldn't apply to this, but like a Yarok, I think applies to all your permanents, right? Doesn't it? I think it does. Regardless, if you got ways to double up on that ETB, great, go get 2. Again, not a specific, not specific. It is more specific that you can't just go get any creature. It has to be non-human. There are a good amount of humans out there, but oh my goodness, there are even more great non-human creatures out there. So go get a big monstrous creature that can just demolish your opponents, and maybe one that can get through on this, because again, when you do take this down, you get the backside of it, which is massive, especially for creature-based decks. Just giant heavy hitters, here we go. Speaking of giant heavy hitters, an 8/8 legendary creature dinosaur, Xylortha Apex of Ikoria. That's right, Xylortha is back with reach that says for each non-human creature you control, you may have that creature assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. Oh my goodness, that is spicy. Basically, I think Thorn Elemental is the original kind of effect of this. At least that's what I remember, like from back in like 7th edition, essentially. So yeah, Thorn Elemental, basically, hey, all your creatures, hey, you know what? Your opponents, you can block. Sure, go ahead and block. It doesn't matter though, because I'm going to be able to get that damage through. So if I'm swinging for lethal at you, even if you block, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be able to assign that damage to you instead of those creatures, take you out. And yeah, again, this is an 8/8 reaching, giant dinosaur too that can help you out as well. So again, this doesn't apply to your humans, but again, there are plenty of, creature-based decks out there that are just big, beefy monsters, essentially, and there you go. You can hit really hard with this, and yeah, the front side, again, is a great way to tutor out a fantastic card. So yeah, I can see this one being quite popular, and again, the pre-order price right now is like $6.82. So yeah, probably going to be pretty popular, probably going to be pretty expensive, might not be within my budget, unfortunately. Next up, though, one that might sneak into my budget at some point, at least I'm hoping so, is Invasion of Theros. 2 and a white, 4 defense counters on it. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for an aura, god, or demigod card, reveal it in your hand, then shuffle. Oh yeah, here we go. So okay, demigods, I've kind of not bashed this card on that, or bashed demigods, but I think there's only like 5 demigods out there, so sorry, you're not really all that impactful for the most part. My apologies. In the future, there'll probably be more, maybe. And yes, I know changelings, technically, yes, so keep in mind you can get changelings too. Okay, those are demigods, those are gods as well. God Tribal definitely can utilize this card though, because yeah, go tutor for any god for 3 mana. Great, go get some really, really good ones. And yeah, if you've got an aura deck, if you've got a Voltron deck maybe that utilizes auras, if you've got an Enchantress style deck, this is definitely the card for you, because yeah, go get that aura, maybe go get that Flickering Ward again, one of those bounce auras essentially that you can cast again and again and again to get all your Enchantress triggers. Or, a Darkstone Mutation in the situation that you're in. Like, if you're like, oh, that commander is really annoying, get Darkstone Mutation, go get Kenra's Transformation, whatever it is, essentially to get rid of that temporarily, but maybe permanently, depending if they can't deal with that. Regardless, let's flip over to the back again. 4 is not a lot for defense counters. You can take this out quite easily, and when you do, flip it over to a Forever Sheltering. My goodness, is this good. 4/4, legendary champion creature, gone. Has lifelink indestructible as long as you control at least 3 other enchantments. Whenever another enchantment enters the battlefield under control, draw a card. If you're an Enchantress style build, yeah, you're very easily going to be able to meet that requirement of 3 or more enchantments, right? So again, indestructible, lifelinking, 4/4, that is a better Enchantress in many ways than other Enchantresses, because it does count on ETB essentially for enchantments. So, I mean, other ones are basically cast triggers, which can be more beneficial depending on if a enchantment is countered, okay? But if you've got ways to potentially blink enchantments, if you've got ways to essentially make enchantments, make, enchantment tokens, make aura tokens, certain commanders do that, or a certain commander I can think of does that. Regardless, you've got ways to essentially really take advantage of this. Again, another great Enchantress to have in play alongside probably your other Enchantresses to draw you a ton of cards with all your enchantments coming into play. And again, yeah, I mean, get this out. Tutor for Flickering Ward or whatnot. Flip it, and then also, yeah, just keep casting the Flickering Ward again and again and again for more and more draw with this and other Enchantresses. Hard to deal with, life linking, drawing engine. Yeah, after a tutor, this is going to be incredible Enchantress style builds. And again, God Tribal, and sure, Demigod Tribal if that's actually ever going to be a thing. Moving on, though, here we go. Invasion of Kaldheim. $2.35 apparently currently. Battle Siege. 3 and a red. When it enters the battlefield, exile cards from your hand, then draw that many cards. Until end of your next turn, you may play the cards exiled this way. So basically, it's kind of an interesting like wheel effect in a way. It's like it's like impulse draw, but like turning your hand into impulse draw. So like, okay, I'm getting rid of the cards in my hand. They're exiled, but I still get access to them until my next turn. And I also get to replace all those cards in my hand, essentially, with other cards off the top of my library. So again, it is kind of like a weird wheel in a way where you're like kind of doubling up on your cards in your hand temporarily, or at least the cards you have access to, right? So draw a good amount of cards, exile the cards in your hand, but you still get access to them, so you can still cast the ones that you really want to cast. And yeah, that's just a really cool effect. And on top of that, of course, there is a backside that's also very cool as well. So 4 defense counters, take those down, and you get Pyre of a World Tree. Oh my goodness, Seismic Assault and then some. Enchantment, discard a land card. It deals 2 damage to any target. That's spicy. That's Seismic Assault. That is fantastic. And again, with damage doubling effects, that can be even better, obviously. Damage tripling effects now with City on Fire, Fire Emancipation. Gross. Of course, there's ways to take advantage of lands in your graveyard. Splendor Reclamation, get those lands back out into play, so like ramp in that way. Or, you know, get them back in your hand. Creeping Renaissance, those kinds of cards as well. Yeah, can be quite fantastic. Oh, and just another thing, here you go. Whenever you discard a land card, exile the top card of your library, you can play that card this turn. Impulse draw on land discard, yes. So again, saying, okay, lands are just like dead cards in your hand at a certain point, or they can be, potentially, depending on how long this game's going. But with this now, it's like, okay, my lands not only are going to deal damage for me, okay, so I can take out, you know, I can burninate players' faces, I can burninate their creatures, I can take out planeswalkers, etc., etc., etc. And then also, yeah, when I do so, oh, cool, I get to exile top card of my library and I can play it. So even if, like, you know, you want to do this play, we're like, okay, I still would like to land drop at some point this turn, but you know what? I really need to take that out. So I'm going to burninate your face. Oh, top of my library card. Oh, top library, my card. Top card of my library. Oh, it's a land. Cool. I'll play that off the top, essentially. And there you go. Because again, it does say play. It doesn't say cast, so you can play it if it's a land. You can cast it if it's a spell. Again, impulse draw plus damage. Yes, sign me up for that. I absolutely love this card. And again, it can make a good impact in certain decks out there. Moving on, another red battle. 2 red for Invasion of Karsus. There we go. We got there. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. So yeah, a very low to the ground, you know, 4 mana for a 3 damage, you know, burst on all creatures and all planeswalkers. This can take out medium-sized, you know, smaller creatures and planeswalkers that only have a certain amount of loyalty on them, or just damage them enough, essentially. This can be a good follow-up after attacking, too, if players block and you're like, cool, let's take out the creatures that are damaged this way, essentially, or damaged enough. So yeah, this can be a good board wipe in a way, a small board wipe, one that can be somewhat one-sided, too, if you've got creatures that are bigger. Great. Hey, get this in play. You know, that player over there that's got all those tokens, that token army that's quite tiny, cool. Take all of them out, essentially. Give this to that player that is, unfortunately for them, not going to have any creatures to block now because they've got to protect this. And then you can just swing through, take it out, and flip it immediately. And my goodness, the backside of this card. Here we go. Gutter Snipe, you're going to be a little jealous because we've got Refraction Elemental. 4/4, ward, pay 2 life. Whenever you cast a spell, Refraction Elemental deals 2 damage to each opponent. So, oh my goodness. Again, Gutter Snipe, great card. Again, instant sorceries when you're casting those 2 damage to each opponent. This one takes it a step further now. Any spell you cast, so instant sorcery, artifact, creature, planeswalker, battle even, yeah. All of them. I forgot one right there. Enchantment? Did I forget that? Anyways, being able to burninate your opponent's faces whenever you're casting absolutely anything is huge. Again, damage doublers, damage triplers can be even more impactful with something like this. Take your opponents out in absolutely no time. And of course, hey, if your opponents actually do want to try to take this out, and they're going to have to, hey, ward, pay 2 life. You're going to have to, you know, be punished a little bit more for even targeting this. So yeah, a great card, especially, again, Spell Slinger, you know, damage decks, you know, group slug decks potentially even, can be a great card for those kinds of decks. Moving on. A card that might see the most play out of all these potentially. I'm not going to claim that it is. I'm just saying that it's got the potential. Here we go. Invasion of Zendikar. Eddie put it in a really good way. Hashtag blame Eddie in the comments below. Thank you. But Eddie put it in a really good way, I think, when we first saw this card. He said, wow, Wizards really hates explosive vegetation. Which, yeah, I mean, basically keep making better and better versions of explosive vegetation that makes explosive vegetation kind of not obsolete, but definitely going to see a lot less play now. Invasion of Zendikar, only 22 cents currently. Great. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for 2 basic land cards, play on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Yeah, basically, again, explosive vegetation, but on a battle ETB. Again, exact same mana cost, 3 and a green. This one has even more potential than that, of course. And I did mention earlier, yeah, you've got ways to, you know, blink this maybe, get that ETB again, maybe bounce it, do it again. But also, when you flip it, again, 3 defense counters, doesn't take too long to take out. Flips over to Awaken Skyclave. 4/4, Vigilant, Hasty, Elemental that says, as long as it's on the battlefield, say land or other types, tap for 1 mana of any color. So kind of like a Dryad Arbor, I guess, creature / land, essentially, permanently. It is basically a mana dork that can swing for a decent amount of damage. Again, 4. It's Vigilant, so it can stay back for blocking as well, which is very nice. And on top of that, of course, it can stay back for tapping for more mana. So this is kind of like a 4 mana ramp spell. And again, typically at 4 mana, again, you got that explosive vegetation efficiency, okay? 2 lands for 4 mana, basically rampant growth times 2. But now we've got potentially ramping for 3 in a way. Again, the 2 lands. Plus, we actually flip this over into a land that can basically tap for mana as well. And again, one may have any color. It's fantastic. Basically, you know, command tower for you, essentially. Not command tower, but, you know, one that can tap for any color. There we go. We got there. So yeah, basically, you know, 4 mana, ramp, 3 potentially, and also kind of having a creature that can swing. Yeah, that's pretty good. Again, this kind of is along those lines, depending on the deck, depending on what you need. It's like a migration path type of card, essentially, where that's also, you know, more flexible, you know, so it's meditation. You get extra value out of it, except for just, you know, getting those lands into play. So I can definitely see this one seeing a good amount of play. And again, you're in green. You've got ways to ramp. You also have ways to make decent creatures that can actually, you know, swing and actually take this out. So, or take it out, you know, knock out those defense counters on the battle, flip it pretty easily. So there you go. Yeah, I can see that one being pretty popular. Moving on. Please, please, please be underneath $1 by the time I'm building decks around you. Invasion of Arcavios, currently $1.10. I love you. 3 blue, 7 defense counters. So, hey, a lot of defense counters, and we'll talk about why, because the backside is pretty good. But here we go. When it enters the battlefield, search your library, graveyard, and or outside the game for an instant sorcery card you own. Reveal it, put in your hand. If you search library, display, shuffle. ETB, tutor for a fantastic instant sorcery from, again, library, graveyard, and, okay, yeah, sorry, commander players out there like myself. Rules committee doesn't like outside the game, even though there's kind of outside the game with, you know, companions and whatnot, but there's not outside the game. But we're not going to talk about them in this episode, even though there probably should be an outside the game. Regardless, yeah, you can't do that. But what you can do is, again, tutor for any instant sorcery out of your library into your hand. I would love for this to be budget. This would be fantastic. Again, that, you know, with like a battle plan kind of strategy where you have all these kinds of battles in your deck, you know, and you're utilizing begin the invasion, stuff like that. Great. This can go get you and begin the invasion. This could also go get you sudden disappearance, where you just like blink your entire board, which does include your battles, because you technically control your battles, even though you're having someone else protect it. You control it still. So blink your entire board. They leave, they come back, and again, all your battles have great ETBs. So yeah, get them all again. So this can set yourself up for a great play. And again, yeah, this comes back into play. ETBs, go tutor for another instant sorcery. Could be a fantastic way to kind of just chain with that. Regardless, of course, I can tutor for other things too. Regardless, the backside though, my goodness, once you flip this, have fun. Enchantment, Invocation of the Founders. Whenever you cast in sorcery spell from your hand, you may copy that spell. Choose targets with a copy. Basically like a swarm intelligence. Hey, you know that tutoring, you know, that you did? Cool. Now also double up on maybe that spell that you just got. So yeah, maybe go tutor for, oh, I don't know. And let's just say this is going to be pretty gross ahead of time, okay? If your playgroups okay with it, and those of you are just okay with it, extra turns deck, yeah. Go tutor for that extra turn spell, like Time Warp or whatnot. Cool. Have fun. Oh, and then, yeah, swing, yeah, get this flipped, and then cast it, and there you go, 2 extra turns. Good luck to your opponents trying to stop you. You probably just won the game, because you can probably just, you know, dig into more extra turn spells, cast those, copy those 2. Yeah, you're probably not going to give your opponents any more chances to play with your solitaire deck, so there you go. Yeah, a really exciting one, and again, I really hope this one's going to be budget-friendly. We shall see. Moving on, at $6.37, probably not going to be within my budget, ever. We've got Invasion of Chandalar. For 3 green. When it enters the battlefield, return up to 3 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, that's a great ETB. Hey, awesome, cool. Yeah, you're some really good permanent cards in my graveyard. Maybe some lands, maybe some artifacts, enchantments, maybe some big creatures, maybe a creature that has an ETB, like Internal Witness, then get you something else back. There's a lot of applications for this, and yeah, typically, you know, I think Restock is the card. For 5 mana, you get 2 cards back out of your graveyard. This one is more specific, right? It is specifically permanent. You can't get instant sorceries back, so there is a limitation of that, but it is giving you an additional card to get back, which is nice. That being said, the backside is what is really impactful with this card, and it works really well at the front. It only takes 4 hits, 4 defense counters taken off to actually flip. There we go, we got there. And it flips into Leyline Surge. My goodness, is this a cool card. Enchantment, at the beginning of your upkeep, may put a permanent card from your hand on the battlefield. Kind of like an individual Braids card, essentially. Like, hey, you know, with Braids, you get to share the love, right? Everyone gets to, you know, put things into play. With this, you're like, nope, just me. Just getting great things. Oh, you know those giant permanents I got on my graveyard? Back in my hand? Cool, let's just start cheating those into play. Maybe like a giant Praetor, like a Vorinclex. Oh, gross. Oh, but yeah, that'd be gross and mean. Ask before you play that one, maybe. But yeah, being able to cheat just giant things in your hand into play for free. I mean, picture like, you know, Blightsteel Colossus, maybe. Yeah, Great Hoof Behemoth. Giant green things. Have fun with that. Yeah, there's a lot of cool things you can cheat. World Spine Worm, a lot of cool things you can cheat to play, and just lands too. You know, if you don't have any other permanents in your hand, yeah, just cheating an extra land into play, that's great. Just basically ramping you even further ahead of your opponents. Yeah, there's a reason this one's expensive. I also believe this one is a mythic, so yeah, I don't see this one being within my budget anytime soon, but you never know. Next up, in a somewhat similar way, we've got Invasion of Tolvada. For 3 white and a black, 5 defense counters on it. When it enters the battlefield, return target non-battle permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, good thing it specified 9 battle, because there's probably some infinite combos you could do with this, probably pretty easily. I mean, not probably pretty easily, but I mean, I guess in other formats you definitely could, because you have to just have multiple of these. Regardless, being able to bring things out of your graveyard for free, I mean, on ETB on this, with extra, it's not really free, I guess, but 5 mana, it's basically like an obs that adds aid for the front side. Cheat something into play, essentially, out of your graveyard. Fantastic. Again, can be something absolutely massive. Cheat that into play. It can be a great play, and again, there's some combos I'm sure that you could utilize with this still. Regardless, when we flip over to the backside, we've got the Broken Sky. So again, front side, cheat something into play, essentially, your graveyard, great. Reanimation, awesome. Backside is an enchantment. Creature tokens you control get +1/+0 and have lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. So basically, you're creating 2/1 flyers. That's fantastic. I mean, yeah, again, creature tokens, 2/1 flyers with lifelink. Basically, this has to be in play for that to be the fact. But still, that is incredible. That is fantastic. That is repeatable on every single one of your turns. On top of all the value you got from just getting something out of your graveyard back into play, yeah, this can be great for a token strategy. This can be great for, you know, aristocrat style strategy. We got there. The first commander that came to my mind is like a Taste of Karlov, essentially, where, hey, you've got death triggers you want to take advantage of. Cool. Let's get something back out of my graveyard. Let's get that back into play. Let's get this flipped. And then, yeah, let's make even more tokens, more creature fodder for our commander. And again, our commander also makes our creature tokens even better too. And there's other effects out there as well that can do so. So, yeah, aristocrat style strategy, token strategies can definitely utilize a fantastic card like this. And I'm sure there's some combos that work well too. And then I believe this is the final one. We've got Invasion of Fiora. And I should mention that just because I don't mention one doesn't mean a battle's not great. There's a lot of great battles out there. These are just ones I want to highlight on this one. Regardless, Invasion of Fiora. 4 black, 4 defense counters on it. Battle Siege. When it enters the battlefield, choose one or both. I love that this says or both. Here we go. Destroy all legendary creatures or destroy all non-legendary creatures. So again, a flexible board wipe that can say, you know what situation am I in, okay? How many legendary creatures are on the board? What non-legendaries are on the board? Do I want to get rid of one or the other or both? Maybe I've got the most legendaries on the board. Maybe my opponents don't have any legendaries at all. Cool. Kind of like a one-sided board wipe in that way again on an ETB. Fantastic being able to say, yeah, let's just wipe out your creatures and mine are still here, and then I can swing through to take this out. Or again, the opposite can be true. Maybe your opponents have their commanders out, you don't have any legendary creatures out, and you're like, yeah, let's just destroy all the legendaries. So again, it is flexible. There is a panic button again with this where it's like, there's a lot of things on the board, including legendaries and not legendaries I don't like, so just blow everything up. Yeah, that's a way to do it too. So, but yeah, if you are able to keep, you know, some of your creatures in play, again, give this to the unfortunate player that you just destroyed all their creatures and now they can't protect it. And then you can swing right through and flip it right away. And the backside, well, Marchesa's back. Marchesa, Resolute Monarch, 3/6 Human Noble with Menace and Death Touch that says, when Marchesa attacks, remove all counters up to 1 target permanent. My goodness, this is great for battles. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you swing and you're like, you got a battle right there? Cool. Let's just remove all the counters from it. Awesome. Now it just, you know, automatically will flip and then I get to cast it. Cool. Awesome. Or, you know, this obviously works against planeswalkers. It works well against, you know, +1 counter synergies. It even works if you've got Dark Depths, right? There you go. At the beginning of your upkeep, though, if you haven't been dealt combat damage since your last turn, you draw a card and lose 1 life. This is kind of like a weird Monarch in a way. Like, it's an individualized Monarch, but with a loss of life. We got there. So, yeah, basically, you're introducing Monarch just for yourself, but not for your opponents. And that seems kind of like Marchesa, right? Like, you know, I'm the queen. Never mind. You can't have it. And so being able to, you know, utilize this again, well in combat, Mass Death Touch is great to get through or just be threatening in combat or take out creatures. And then, of course, also just, hey, if your opponents don't come through at you or you can protect yourself or, again, your board wipe essentially saved you from creatures being able to come at you for a little while. If you can control the board, you get a lot of extra card advantage out of this. Again, 1 life for 1 card. I've said it a lot of times on this channel. Not a big deal at all in Commander. Again, you start at 40 life. You got plenty of life to give. So yeah, a great card in Commander and one that I can see making some massive plays. So yeah, those are my picks for the cards I want to talk about. The battles I want to talk about. Ones that I think can make a massive impact in Commander. Not that the other ones can't. There are definitely a lot of other great ones, but these are ones that I wanted to highlight. Yeah, well, let me know let me know in the comments below. We got there. What your thoughts are on these picks. What battles should I brought up? You know, what are your favorite battles from this set? And yeah, comment below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.